What's good? This is the Fingaz, Dafingaz, music composer, producer, diving in on sync licensing, trailer music, and this is episode 32 of Syncrets To Success. For the first 31 days, it was nonstop, daily posts, secret gem each day about sync licensing, trailer music, and things like that. And I'm gonna keep it going. Hopefully once a week, maybe a couple episodes a week, but definitely at least once per week. Try to post another video on this podcast, and particularly this month, this episode is sponsored by, we have sponsors now, ASTS Sounds. ASTS is an incredible company that releases a lot of great sound effects and sounds from music composers, beat makers, producers, and you can go to ASTSsounds.com and you can use the code Syncrets To Success for 20% off of your order. I will include that in the description, in addition to some other links like the Facebook group link to Syncrets To Success, and some other links you can check out in the description. So shout out to ASTS Sounds and the whole team over there for sponsoring these next few episodes and weeks of Syncrets To Success. So we got sponsors now. I'm actually looking for more sponsors as I'm continuing to plan different trips for next year to different conferences and things. So working on that, fingers crossed. I'm putting together a sync panel for NAMM, and I think I talked about that in a recent episode, but I'll do another episode on sync conferences, things like that, and what you can do when you're going to in-person events, and maybe another one on Zoom events. So I'm trying to plan out this podcast as I'm talking out loud. But this episode in particular, I want to talk about collaborations. I know we talked about it in a past episode, but I want to dive in a little bit deeper into collaborations where you work with other artists or producers on tracks that you're creating for sync and trailers. I haven't really collaborated on trailer stuff yet, other than trailerized hip hop and things like that. So I guess technically I have collaborated. So usually when I am working with collaborators, I do an even split. Some people ask, do you take more of it? Because sometimes, I'm making music, but I'm also, maybe I'm pitching it to a specific library or certain libraries that's in my, on my radar. Even splits just the way right now I do business. It might change. 50. So if it's me and one other artist, if I make the music, the artist writes to it and does, whatever, raps or sings, 50-50. If it's three of us, usually, a third each. If it's four of us, 25. I haven't gone more than 4 on a track. Me and maybe, I like to do 2 or 3, but I typically don't go more than 4. For collaborations on the track, because if it's 4 people on a track and you're pitching it, and unless you're guaranteed like it's going to be a big mega placement, 6 figures, that might be a decent split, But if it's like you're pitching it to something that might be $1,000 all in, so you're getting 500, you're splitting that 4 ways. Is it really worth it? So if I'm collaborating with a lot of people, it definitely has to be either a guaranteed project for a library that we know can pitch it to the higher end, video game trailers or things like that, or higher end placements, theme songs, things like that. Or we know that we'll get a lot of placements with this song. And you don't know, you never know. So what I've been doing lately, I know I've mentioned this also in past episodes, of cover songs, which is a totally different beast, but I never really did covers, especially for sync. Like the last month, I did 2 covers for sync, and I really, they were last minute covers. Usually, I think the turnaround was, they were due in probably a day, less than a day. So I had to make the music, and then find the artist to do the cover. And that was interesting. I usually start in my Facebook group, Syncrets To Success, on Facebook, and I start with the directory I have there. So when you join the group, you can put your stuff in the directory, put your information. So one thing about putting your information down, just make sure that I can find, or other collaborators can find, links to your music. Some people are putting links there that go to their page, but their page is about real estate or something else. I'm struggling to find music so that I can hear a sample of what they can do, and then I can reach out to them. So a lot of times I click whatever link they share, and if it's not music, I move on to the next. So with that directory, I also have genres listed. So if you do hip hop or R&B or pop, I can just search the genre list there, or languages, which is what I added, because sometimes I get asked for, hey, we want someone to do a song in Spanish, or a song in Russian or Italian. So I have all those listed on the directory. So join the Syncrets To Success Facebook group. So I find collaborators. So with the cover songs, I created the music, my version of the cover. one of them was a Broadway like musical, big song, and the other one was a almost like Beatles-like song. It wasn't a Beatles song, but it was a Beatles-like song. And so the way I do these covers is I create the instrumental. So I see a brief. It's like, hey, we want a cover of this song by this artist due on, by this day and this time. So depending on the deadline and do I think I can get it done. So I get a brief for like covers or things like that, and I create the track, and then I look for the artist because I believe I will find the artist that I need to get on the tracks. So with the first cover, again, I mentioned this before. I had a great artist, been working with her for a while. We probably have a decent catalog. She does more folk type songs, so it's really great to have her on those types of pitches that I can do and pitch. So we pitched to a lot of opportunities, so fingers crossed that some of those land. But she wrote to this first Broadway song, and I sent it to the library, and they didn't really like the vibe of the voice with the track and what they wanted. So they pushed me to go a little further, so I reached out to some other artists. They wanted more of a gospel type vibe. So I reached out to some artists, one that I knew, and then one that I found on the Facebook group, I believe, to add more of the gospel soul that they wanted for this particular track, and they killed it. They sent me their vocals, so they worked on it on their own. I didn't send one person the version of the other person because I wanted them to do their own thing, send it to me, and then I would mix it. So I mixed it, and it came out incredible. Very similar process with the other song that I did, the other cover, where found two artists. Was like, hey, can you guys work on this? And one of the artists reached out to me. He was like, hey, are we doing this? Because there was a post on Facebook. I'm like, hey, we want to cover this song. And one of the artists was like, hey, we doing this? I did the music, sent it to him. He killed it. And then I needed some more vocal layers. So I found another singer who, he's in my Facebook group, but he was on Instagram. I posted on Instagram, like, look, I need a singer last minute. So I usually start the Facebook group, but if it's last minute, I start going everywhere. Instagram, wherever, posting, look, I need a singer, really quick, couple hour turnaround for a cover song, hit me up. And this guy who I actually know in different communities that I'm part of, hit me up. He's like, yo, what do you need? Let me know. I'm in the studio right now. So hit him up, send him the stuff. And when I do those last minute posts, I do get a couple responses, sometimes 10, 15, 20 responses. And usually it's first come, first serve. So whoever responds first is like, yo, I'm ready to work. I make sure they have their BMI or PRO stuff, BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC stuff set up, because it's not worth I can't work with an artist who doesn't have their PRO stuff, which is another thing with collaborations. So I was working on a project where I had an instrumental. I forgot if it was hip hop or R&B or what. I needed an artist, and the artist was like, I can work with this. I'll write to it. And I was like, do you have your PRO stuff? And they're like, no, but you can just use yours. And I was like, that's cool and all, but I can't just use mine because the library is going to want to know, one, what's the artist on this track? And if I say this artist is, Joe Schmo, they'll be like, okay, what's Joe Schmo's PRO? It's like, oh, they don't have one. They just want to use mine. That's not really going to fly. Or is it a work for hire? And if it's a work for hire, I might have to produce, the receipt or the invoice for the work for hire. And I typically don't do work for hires where I'm hiring an artist, because it's like, hey, let's split it. I don't really have the disposable income to like hire a vocalist to sing right now, even though I have done it on Fiverr. So that's a totally different beast where I can get, a violin player for like $5 or something. It's crazy because if you get a Fiverr, I've gotten a choir from Fiverr for like $5. But if I were to hire like a choir, and I know some big choirs that, they would probably kill it, but it would be like thousands of dollars. And like, I don't have thousands of dollars. So that's the thing. You got to figure out how to find the collaborations you need. So I've actually hired, I will say I've hired string players on Fiverr. I'm not sponsored by Fiverr. Actually, as I mentioned at the beginning, this episode is sponsored by ASTS Sounds. So definitely check out ASTSsounds.com. But check out Fiverr. Sound Better. I haven't used Sound Better, but you can find collaborators on Sound Better. But I usually start in my Facebook group. So even if I'm looking for an instrumentalist, hey, I need a violin player, I go to my Facebook group. We are at 1,000 members now. It's called Syncrets To Success, the name of this podcast. And those thousands of members, and I see some people, I don't know if I can't see the chat, live chat. I start there. It's like, hey, I need a violin player, I need a whatever. But usually I'm looking for singers, rappers who can self-record, self-mix decently, and who can do things fast, because I'm usually chasing last-minute briefs. Usually less than 4 hour, 5 hour turnaround, maybe up to a day. But I'm chasing these briefs for many reasons. A lot of them are decent pay. A lot of them are with companies that land a lot of placements. A lot of them are ways to get in with libraries. So a great way to get in with a library is to collaborate with someone that already works for that library. So I've worked with collaborators on a song, and the song gets accepted, and now that artist, that collaborator I worked with, can now get signed to the library. So there's really a lot of pros with the collaboration process, but there's also some cons. So some cons, some things that I've had trouble with collaborations is that some libraries I work with require you to have a one-stop sheet, which basically means a one-stop or split sheet where you outline everyone who worked on the song, the percentages, their PRO, their publishing, and all that. The problem is, one, finding systems that allow you to upload these documents and get these signatures. There are great platforms like HelloSign, DocuSign. I usually draft the document. There's a great one-stop split sheet draft out there. I got mine from Control Camp, CTRLCAMP. But there's a great draft out there that you can use, and I just use that and just change the names and numbers and things as needed. And I save those in Google Drive, Google Docs. But then I download it to my computer and then upload it to like HelloSign or something like that, or DocuSign, so that I can send it out to people to sign, and then we can submit it. The problem there is if recently I was working on a project and I needed one of my collaborators to sign this document to submit it to the library will not submit the music if they don't have the one stop. And I couldn't get in touch. This was over the weekend, so obviously people are doing things with the family. I couldn't get in touch with one collaborator because he was at church, and he was playing at church. I didn't know that at the time, and it was like an hour passed, and the library really they wanted to submit the song, but they needed the one stop to submit it. So it got to the point where I was like, I hope, I was texting, I was sending messages, email to this collaborator, and I was just like, man, I hope you're cool with the song. I'm gonna send it as is, and I'm gonna sign your signature. I'm gonna not forge it, but I'm gonna sign for you. I think they signed off on the agreement before. But I just had to, you got to do what you got to do. So I had to reach out to the artist, and luckily he got out of church. He's like, oh man, it's all good. He did end up sending me his official signature, but he was like, I was in church. Like, all right, cool. And we sent the song got signed to the library. But there's things like that where you got to make sure that you have the one-stop signed when you're collaborating with artists. Make sure that everyone understands the splits, that make sure your collaborators have their PRO, their BMI, ASCAP, CSAC stuff set up, because if not, there could be like a lot of trouble. What you don't want to do is cause more work for the libraries you're working with in the sync licensing space. So definitely consider the collaborators. Consider where you're finding your collaborators. I actually find people sometimes on social media, like Instagram. I was looking for a reggaeton artist, so I just hashtag reggaeton. This was maybe a month ago, and just started going through posts. And I found a couple, reached out to some, like, hey, do you have a PRO? Some of them, I actually. Yes, so I think someone was like, yeah, I do. What's up? Do you understand sync? Because it helps to know all of this stuff going into it, knowing about sync, having your own BMI publishing setup, and getting all of that together. So I think making sure you have your business, like the first step is make sure you have your business if you want to collaborate. If you're looking for collaborators, join the Syncrets To Success Facebook group. There'll be a link in the description. Check out ASTS Sounds. This is a sort of a new company providing like cinematic epic sounds, trailer sounds, pad sounds, sound effects for music creators, and they are a sponsor of this episode. And if you use the code Syncrets To Success, you get 20% off your order. So definitely check out ASTS Sounds. Shout out to them for sponsoring. Again, looking for more sponsors as I'm trying to set up some things for the sync licensing space, more in-person things starting next year. Again, I hosted the largest panel at NAMM this year, and I'll do another episode. Maybe the next episode will be on conferences. Someone literally just asked me, how did I put together that panel at NAMM? So don't mind sharing. But of course, if you want to have more of a one-on-one, in-depth chat about your sync licensing journey, trailer music, networking, music business, I'll have a link where you can check out some services. We can do a 60-minute or 30-minute consult. I can talk to you about your goals and plans and dreams in the music space, or just in general networking, trailer music, sync licensing business, things like that. And then last but not least, in the sync licensing space, I released a singers pack called Fingaz Presents Sting Endings last week. It's been incredible getting some feedback, getting a lot of sales actually, which was more than I thought was going to happen, especially in 1 week. I will include a link where you can check that out in the description also. And someone already asked me for like, when's the next one coming out? I was like, oh, okay. But I might release another, not Sting Ending pack, but another sample pack this week. I used to release sample packs heavily last year, 2 years ago. Then I sort of stepped out of that game, but getting a little bit back into it, so getting the business stuff together. So definitely check that out, and maybe, just maybe, it'll be royalty free. We'll see, royalty free. The Sting Endings is royalty free, so you can get this pack. You are working on a song, production song, and you just need to get that one Sting button ending. Get the pack, put it at the end of your song. They're labeled by the key, so you can get the key that your song is in, get the Sting ending, drop it in, and I will not chase you to get royalties for landing the biggest song on the biggest TV show or whatever. So royalty free. Check it out. The Fingaz Present Sting Ending. Check out ASTSsounds.com. Check out the Facebook group. Find your collaborators. Make sure you get your business set up so that you can collaborate effectively and efficiently with your collaborators that you're finding. The Facebook group is a great way to start. I'm getting a lot of feedback from the group where people have found collaborators. Libraries in the group have found a lot of their roster from other talent in the group. So definitely check out Syncrets To Success. This is Marcus the Fingaz, DAFINGAZ. This is the longest episode of Syncrets To Success, possibly. More on the way. Again, I'm going to keep this going as thoughts come up. I might take some notes. This is the first episode where I actually didn't have notes. I'm just winging it. So stay tuned for more. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right. Peace.